Welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're over here at Dana Ford in Staten Island. We're here for one of their dyno days, so we're going to take the truck on, see what she makes. Depending on when this video comes out, will be either before or after we took the truck to the track. So I went to the track last night, so depending on which one of these videos I can kind of edit faster, we'll determine which one comes out first. But yeah, we're gonna see exactly what she makes. They have their own performance department, so they actually have a dyno at the dealership. So it's Dana Autosports. So the dash unit, we'll see what's going on. Give me your opinions of what you think this truck's gonna make. It's still just the Omega Stage 2 package on E85. Nothing else really. It's gonna be on those off-road tires still. So I'm thinking 440. It's gonna be a 6-gear pull. So let me know. Up next, so we'll see what she makes. Like I said, I'm thinking 440-ish to the tire. Give me your opinions in the comments prior to the end. Let's see what she makes. Well, there you have it. We made 425 horsepower to the tire. That's with large off-road tires, which I'm pretty sure kind of absorbed a little bit of power, and a fully stock exhaust. So next time we'll try it with a little free-flowing exhaust, and we'll see if we get any gains there. But in the meantime, did the numbers match up with what your guesses were? Do you think that it's better or worse than what it should be? I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, the truck runs well, and yeah, Well, we're following up, coming off of the dyno. We're a few days later. I'm over here at Rob's, and we're gonna do an oil change and a little health check, just to confirm everything is good before we put the blower, because we're gonna put the blower on the stock motor first, just to give you guys an idea of what it can do on 93 on a relaxed platform. We'll be turning up shortly after that with the build motor. But I did realize through my own negligence of not checking things when I first got the truck, the oil was a little low. It was about 1.5 quarts low, so that could have threw off the VCT a little when it was on the dyno, which was why the number was a little low. Well, not so much as low, but with the horsepower was at a lower RPM than it should have been for peak power. Because chasing 10-15 horsepower is like whatever, but the fact that it was at like 5,500 RPM as opposed to 69 to 7,100 had me a little curious. So after looking into it, we realized we were a little low on oil, so that could have been kind of where it was at. Could have threw the VCT and the cam timing off a little bit. So we're about to get an oil change. We'll do a compression test and everything just to make sure everything's good. And actually going to change the plugs as well. So, because we don't know when the last oil change or plugs really was. You assume that the dealership usually does that, right? But could be wrong. So we'll make sure ourselves. If we have time, we'll strap it back down and get some numbers. If we don't have time, then we won't, and we'll probably just test it at the track and stuff, or some draggy stuff. But till then, let's jump in.
I'm going up in weight on oil. Put 50 in it instead.
Yeah, it's because we're gonna be revving it anyway, and then the blower's coming anyway. I was gonna say that.
That. A little bit. Should be down here a little bit. Mr. McGregor.
Yeah, you had threw me off with the call because I was like, I'll go stop, get a whatchamacallit car wash. Like, he's usually around 9:30 on a Saturday.
Get down there, sure.
See, your brother's out of town.
Yeah,
Yeah, I spoke to him yesterday. Or whatever it was. I like the carpet though.
Oh, it's got carpet instead of rubber?
Yeah, I like the carpet. You know? I'm upscale now and shit. Got our notes.
Yeah.
So what exactly, how does this go exactly?
I was just gonna jump right to it and just do the cylinder leak down. So compression test, what you're doing is you just gonna use a number from factory. Let's say each cylinders are 150 pounds, right? So then what we want to do is we're gonna go in here. Your revolutions have to be the same for each cylinder. You can't change up. So I usually do 5 revolutions. And the way you can either count that is you list to the engine, which I do both, list to the engine, and I'll look at how many times the needle jumps. So if the needle jumps 5 times, I'll crank it 1. So you listen to the revolutions. You'll hear, that's 1, 2, and then etc. So as the needle keeps bouncing up, it's gonna, at the point it's gonna stop. And that's where your max compression for that cylinder. So then, let's say if they all checked out, or as long as they're within 5% of each other, you're pretty good. That just lets me know if I have a cylinder that's a little down compared to the rest of the others. So let's say if I'm at 155 on number 8, and then I get to like number 6 and I'm at like 110, well, that's a big difference. At that point, we have to find out. Our next step would be is to do a cylinder leak down test. And the cylinder leak down test, I'll show you that in a minute on how that goes. So we're gonna start on the actual driver's side. It's a little easier. We can just run straight across. Put your piece in there. It's got a little check valve in it. So basically for every stroke, there's some pump. I'm definitely not a teacher, so, you know, you guys can clown me, but I know what I'm doing, you know what I mean? So I'm explaining to you the best way I know how to. All right, so now there's your compression test. From 0 to 300 pounds, we'll never see that. It's probably in diesel territory. So we're zeroed out, right? Hammer that little button there. Right there. All right, so now we're gonna watch the sweeps. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. Alrighty, so now that's 150, okay? And these are in 25s, right? So let's see where we're at. 200, right? On the gauge. So number 8 is at 200 PSI. And really you want to make sure that you got like some type of battery charger or something on it. The other thing they tell you can crack the throttle. But I'm not gonna do all that. But whatever you do, you don't change up. If you're checking it with the throttle body closed, and again, I'll probably put something on there on the battery. But you want to make sure the revolutions are the same. So what we're working on, that was number 8. So we're gonna call him 200 PSI. All right, this just to get us an idea if we have any cylinders to actually look at. Okay, so moving right along. I'm not really too focused on the compression test, but I kind of did one with the computer. Which is the computer's actually kind of close, to be honest with you. All right, so we good in there. Everybody's within 2.5% or so. I'm fine with that. That's beautiful. Bone stock engine. You got some pressure on. Now we're gonna go on over here and use a different tool. That guy there is just the compression test. Now we got to use shop air. So if you do a cylinder leak down, you're going to need to have a good compressor that at least probably have, about 20-gallon tank or something that's decent size. The other thing is, on these trucks, the plugs are so far down the hole, you need O2 extension to get it on there. So now, the reason why I switched these up, I don't know if you guys can see it. This one's got like a little Schrader valve in it. So every time you go to crank over the engine, the compression pushes that little valve, spikes this little gauge, and then locks it out so it doesn't bleed back down. So that was for the compression test. Now, this one just has a solid hole because we're gonna be shoving air in there. So you can't, if you had this one with air pressure behind it, well, guess what? You ain't gonna be able to fill the cylinder because the Schrader valve is in there. You can still use this by taking the Schrader valve out, but I have two different tools, so it already comes set, so I don't have to keep stealing Schrader valves. Like that. Now let me get the other guy. Alrighty.
Double gauge.
Get my little man stool. Alright, so I'm gonna just do this right here in front of you guys. So this is the snap-on cylinder leak down test. The way it works is put air there. This is the PSI that we're gonna be shoving in the cylinder, and this is gonna let us know where our leak down is, basically what's escaping past. So first thing we do is we preset, go to 100 pounds. That should go around the 0 area. I'm just gonna show you what'll happen if. So that's 100 right about there. Lock that out, right? So let's see if we can kind of do this so you guys can see and see if I can kind of mimic. So now you hear the air coming out of there, because that's the air. Remember, if we had like a bottle that was closed, you see that? So that'll be a zero cylinder leak down, right? So hold on, let's do this again. Right? So that would be a good ring. You know, nothing is escaping past anything. Because I have my finger over the hole. I'm holding pretty much almost like 100 pounds. Let's see. Yeah, I'm a little shy. So I always take this thing and I test it first. So we're gonna go to 100. Like that. Go back over here. So that's a 0 leak down. Engine's not that, like, you never get that. I have yet to see it. So you probably, like, for instance, this would be leaking past the range, maybe like, you know, that's about 15%. I'm trying to hold it, but I can't. But I'm gonna show you how it's done in the cylinder. So the first thing we do is we're gonna come back over here. We're gonna go to this number 8 guy, because he seems to be the problem child on these engines. Okay. Seen number 8, number 7 go. I've seen number 4. You know. We're gonna make sure that's nice and tight in that hole. Now we're gonna take this guy here and we're gonna listen for the compression. You're gonna hear it start to push out, and we're gonna get it close to TDC as possible. All right, so now that's on compression stroke, but it felt like it started to come back down already. So I'm gonna run it over again. It's sucking. All right, so we're pretty close there. So we should be close to TDC. You wanna get it top as far top as possible. Now, this is our gauge. Okay, so we set at 0 there. Now I may try to rotate the engine. That means I'm still not at the top. So I'm just gonna check my gauge first. All right, so it rotated the engine. So what we gotta do is I gotta bump it just a little bit more. Let's see, probably not enough. Nope, she's still trying to rotate. I'm just going by feel because I know how it's supposed to feel. Let's see. Nope, not yet. I was almost there, hold on. Okay, got it, found it, right? So what did I say? Well, shit, this damn motor pretty damn tight, right? So now we know we at top dead center. Because if we wasn't, it'll be leaking down. So I'm gonna just reset my gauge. I want that exactly at 100%. And it might be like that because let me just bump it on this thing just to see. Because I got a little bit of a leak here. All right, so we're at 100 right there. That's good. Let's see if we can get this thing to stop leaking. Okay. Can you see it good?
Yep.
All right, good. All right, so now that's at 100. That's at 0. And this is going to tell us what's leaking past, you know, you're going to get some leaking past the rings. So I want to say that, so this will be 0, that'll be 5, that'll be 10, that'll be 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, right? So we're about 8%. I would say that's pretty healthy, you know, for a motor that's got 60,000 miles on it. And that's number 8. So we got 8% leaking. I'm cool with that. That's damn near almost perfect, you know. Like I said, I never seen this thing, nothing never leaked past the rings, you know. So that's that one. So we're at 8% there. I'm gonna go over here to number 7. You just gotta get that piston just right where it kinda, you wanna get past this dwell time where it's just kinda like the rod is, when the crank is coming around and they got the piston up, there's a little dwell time. You wanna kinda lock that, you'll never see it, but you wanna kinda get that piston so it can't get pushed back down. So now, I'm gonna go over number 7 and see what he like. And then after that, I'm not gonna go through all of them because the motor's actually, I'm looking at the problem childs, and there's also a stock motor, so we can readdress this after we start throwing some heat at it with the blower and start to see what's what, you know. So 60,000 miles, I don't know what they were really doing with this truck. Truck is in real good shape. You know, in the average life, so Ford tells you about these plugs, I'm gonna jump around a little bit. They tell you that these plugs are good for 100,000 miles. Cut that in half. Definitely if you're beating the crap out of your vehicle. Like if you're out here, I mean, obviously you're watching this channel because you're out here either doing what we're doing or going faster or whatever, you know. So that a blower, I change them every season, or depending on how hard you really run them, you know, maybe twice a season. You know, you're in that season twice, or if you know, if you're really competing, you could change them shit as much as you want. So you can read plugs. That's the way you should be doing it. But you guys are more like street guys. Make sure you at least change them, you know, at least twice a season, or at least once a season, or at least just check them to see where the gaps are at. Because once that gap gets open, what it'll do is, we're gonna call this a candle. So the spark that jumps between that part and touches that part, if this gap gets any wider, it'll blow out the candle, right? So now you're gonna be down a cylinder because it can't light off the fuel. That's the whole point of this candle, is to light off what's in that hole there. So you want to keep your candle tight. And the other thing we got, you know, against us is, guess what? These things got 12-to-1 compression, and then you guys are throwing somewhere around 15, 16 pounds of boost. It's almost like a goddamn diesel engine. You probably, in cylinder pressure wise, you're probably somewhere in the, you know, 30 PSI range if you was to add all that up together. Don't hold me to that because I don't need no scientist calling Dorian or me saying that, yeah, your numbers are wrong. Just give you an idea of how much you're actually building in that cylinder. You know, back in the day, we would never have 12.5-to-1 or 12-to-1 compression in an engine with 16 pounds of boost. But we're spoiled now because we have the variable cam timing. We can do a whole bunch of different things with it. But it's very important that you make sure that you keep your spark plug gaps where they need to be, and you can run consistent. So that's a tech tip for the day there. All right, so we're at number 7 now. We're gonna play this rollover game again. See if we can get it up there. That's you coming up. This might not do it, but let's see. Nope, she ain't happy. Nope, now we're on the suck side. That's the side I like. We nailed it. Alrighty. So number 7. Now let me just make sure my gauge is, so my gauge moved a little bit. So we want to make sure this damn make sure it's at 0, because remember, we want to compare apples to apples, not oranges to peaches. So let's go on over here. Put them on there. So we got about, shut up, I would say about 9%. So they're 1% off from each other. I'm good with that. You know what I mean? That's a good tight engine, you know? And, you know, it's not a bad deal if, you know, you guys are going to be doing this. You know, you're buying a used vehicle or something like that. You know, check the health of the engine before you start spending, you know, $8,800 on a blower or whatever, you know, between all the money you're going to spend. Because even though it may have low miles on it, it may not be as healthy as you think. I just had a 96 Cobra in here from an old customer of mine that had passed away, and the kid that used to detail it bought the car. The car's got 15,000 miles on it. It's got a blower on it. Well, he's got 3 dead holes. 15,000 miles, 3 dead holes. Tune-up wasn't right, but he thought it was ready for the dyno, and he came in, it ain't ready. So, you know, and also at the end of the season, whoever you guys use to do your work, you can make that one of your maintenance routines. You know, if you're gonna be, you know, pulling the plugs out of it and checking it, and just to let you know what you're up against for the next season. Instead of you being at the track braking, at least you know before you get to the track, you know, that you're good and ready to go. On the race engines, that's what we do before we store them. Cylinder leak down test, fog them, and store them. But yeah, this is a good tool. You don't have to buy the Snap-on one, like I said, it's $1 gazillion. You can just find you like a OTC or something that's a good name brand one, and you'd be good to go. Now we're just gonna pop the plugs in it. That's it. What's up, boss? Yeah, you got spark plug or slow? So a good example, 60,000 mile plug, original, right? Brand new plug. You can actually see the gap is a lot tighter there than there, right? So let's see what they come out the box. Now, even though they say some of them come out the box, like NGK will give you numbers, like out the, you know, what they're actually gapped to out the factory. I never just take plugs and throw them out, you know, right out the box in the vehicle. I mean, because, you know, some yo-yo dropped the box or whatever the case may be. You know, all right, so I just put the 50,000 in there. They say anywhere from the Ford specs on the plugs, anywhere from 49 to 53. I like to be a little bit on the tighter side, so I'll probably put these at like 50. You know, or you can go in the middle like 51. So that's 50 right there, right? So let's go up to a little bit here, next one up. This is 54. So if I had to guess, these are probably around 51. So I'm gonna tighten up on them just a tick. And that'll give us a little room to, like, once things start to wear down, it'll still be within spec. This one here is already out of spec. What did we say this one was at? 60? Yeah, so he's out of spec already. See? 60 just going there like you're throwing a hot dog down the hallway, you know what I mean? And you know 80 ain't gonna go in there, that's way too much. So 60, that's a lot, alright? So we're gonna go over here to 50. Put this out, that's 50,000. And you guys can, I don't use that other one that you can like roll this thing around with. I don't use that, I use like this style. You know, or you can use a filler gauge. But this is what I usually use, so. Just close him up just a tick. Hose on, so we're on the vacuum leak. You still there? Maybe.
Well, as you can see, we've completed a health check. Everything checks out pretty well. We got the oil change and we got our plugs. Even though we'll be changing plugs in a couple weeks when we put the blower on, but we're good for right now, and we'll do some testing, some draggy testing tonight, get some logs, and then we'll get back to the track. Timing didn't allow for me to get it strapped down today, but may get it strapped down later on this week to see if we're doing the tune-up, if that did enough to get our RPM kind of where we wanted it to, our peak power. We'll see. If not, then we'll dive deeper into tuning, see exactly what it may be. I'll have some conversations with my tuner and determine if it might be something else that we need to look at, or something that maybe he needs to adjust. But we'll see after these logs. I can't give you a video without giving you at least a good draggy hit or something. So we'll jump on into that next, and there we go. Mother Nature had a little different idea about us doing any draggying all last night or today. So, no draggy, no draggy. Safety first. All night long. Well, on a bonus note, I didn't feel comfortable just kind of leaving the video without a true conclusion. Whether it had been getting some draggy, which the rain prevented, or us getting this strap back down and see if my curiosity of the slight issue is resolved. So we're back here at Dana Ford. We're getting ready to go into the dash booth, and we're going to strap it down. It's windy, so hopefully you can hear the audio. Strap it down and see what she makes. I still go with the same thing. I think she should make about 440. Should be up around 6,900 to 7,100 RPM when she makes it, but we'll see. So let's jump in. I'll give you this part, and that'll pretty much be the conclusion to this video. Hopefully without any other questions. If so, if there are anything else, then at that point, then I'll have to start troubleshooting some other things and see what it could be. this trip was a success. We were able to get it strapped back down after we did the tune-up and health check, and peak power did move up slightly more power than we had originally. Not much, but the main thing is the RPM. If you look at that gap at 6,900 or so versus where it was before, that's where you notice the biggest difference. And like I said, we had a few different factors that were involved. We were a little low on oil before. We're like a quart and a half low. A lot of little different things that was kind of on me to just be aware of ahead of time and check. But I did, so I checked them later. And now that they've been resolved, you see in the graph, you see our power and everything. It looks pretty good, pretty solid. Like I said, that was my biggest concern, was where the peak power was in the RPM band, in the whole power band, versus where it should have been. So that's no longer an issue. And again, I want to thank the guys over at Dana Ford. I want to thank Rob doing the health check and everything. So between those two spots, I mean, that's pretty much where you'll see most testing done on this truck, because we're going to be doing everything here, like as you've noticed, step by step, as opposed to just going straight to the gusto. I mean, everybody already knows I have a built motor, I have a supercharger, so I could always just go straight to the end, but sometimes the journey is more fun than the destination, you know? Because once I reach the end, what do we really do then? Because as most know, I mean, you got an 8-second vehicle, continuously beat, take that thing out racing, you're going to be breaking stuff left and right. So I'm kind of enjoying the fact I'm at a point right now where I know nothing's breaking, which helps my pocket out a lot. It helps me continue to be able to do content without it being content, just looking at something not moving. So we're going to continue forward with this plan. We're going to be putting the blower on the stock motor. And we'll be doing the exhaust soon. I'm not sure if we're going to do the exhaust first or the blower first. And we'll show it like on 93. We'll show it on the 85 at stock boost levels. That are more than safe and comfortable for anyone that's putting it on a stock motor. So no, I'm not going to throw 20 pounds of boost at the stock motor. Not at all. That's not a go. What I will show is probably between 12 to 14 pounds. And yeah, are there blowers, are there guys out here running more than that on the stock motor? Yeah. Heck, I used to. On my previous truck, I ran, 18 pounds on the stock motor. 18 to 20, somewhere around there. So it's doable. Do I suggest it for a long term? No. So here, we'll stay around at 12 to 15 at the most, pretty much on the stock motor. Because what's the point of me trying to beat the hell out of the stock motor when the built motor will be coming not long behind the blower? We'll probably have the blower on the stock motor for maybe a month, if that. Knowing me, it'll probably be like 2 or 3 weeks, but it'll allow us to get some good content at that power level under those mods, so you guys can see not just the drivability, reliability, and the performance. So that's the thing. And then we'll turn it up when it's needed. We'll put the built motor, put the built trans. We had a few things coming in that really make some fun. And like I said, the main thing is you guys to get to see all of the progressions of this vehicle from low end stock all the way through. Heck, me and Stang Mode still have another rematch coming as he continues his build. I'll be continuing mine, and we'll see where they match up in a couple weeks. That should be interesting. And we got a few other guys too, you know. So I hope you guys enjoyed everything. And again, if you're looking for a car in your tri-state, check out Dana Ford. Those guys are A1. And the cars, you can get your performance work done right there at the dealership. It's a top-notch job. So till the next time, This is boosted F-150 out. And for all of you guys that stayed and watched this long video, I usually try not to make these videos this long, but with doing the health check and trying to show you guys everything, it kind of stretched it out. But the draggy runs for after we've done everything, I won't be making it into the video as you saw from the rain. So those, you'll see a few of those on Instagram this week. So check out my Instagram and make sure you give a follow too. For some reason, people don't like following me much on Instagram. I don't know. But give it a follow. Let me know if you like what you see. And we'll go from there. Boosted F-150 out.